we are going to break down the lightweight championship fight, which is not getting enough love, mostly probably because it's on UFC Fight Pass. Rafael dos Anjos, Eddie Alvarez for the 155 belt.
Let's be serious. The reason it's not getting the love is because the champion, I don't think UFC knows how to market him because he's really just a great fighter.
Yeah. And let's jump into this. I wrote a whole preview you can find on the fullmountmma.com where I basically broke down Dos Anjos and Alvarez, how each fighter wins. Of course, we got here because of the fact that Conor McGregor and Dos Anjos' fight fell out because of the Brazilian's broken foot. This will be Dos Anjos' second title defense after he absolutely annihilated Cowboy Cerrone last December. He took the belt from Pettis last year. Eddie Alvarez is a former lightweight champion in Bellator. And you know that because when you look at his UFC profile, all of a sudden he doesn't fight for 5 years. So, I mean, I'm just saying it's very conspicuous by the UFC. He's looking to claim UFC gold for the first time. He's got split decision wins recently over Gil Melendez and Anthony Pettis. And I watched a couple fights of these guys back before I wrote this preview, before we get into all that. How are you feeling about Dos Anjos coming off of a little bit of a layoff with that broken foot, missing out on the gigantic McGregor payday? What do you think his mindset is at going into this fight?
You know, we talk about this all the time with the injuries and will they come back? And it seems like everybody comes back okay, except for one guy who didn't come back quite the same. But it's hard to live up to that guy's billing coming back off a layoff. But Dos Anjos, you know, I mean, it's a foot injury. You know, you put weight on the foot. The different things you're going to need that. You know, is he missed out on that payday? It's got to make him hungry because he's got to want to prove that. Look, if I was there, I would have beat McGregor. You know, so he's got to look good. At least to me, that's the thinking I would think. And plus, with the way these fighters are, they all got that, you know, that alpha, you know, gene to where they're always, you know, just to fight each other. You got to have that to think that you're better than the other guy. But I mean, you know, the foot's gonna be a thing. I mean, is it? I got to think it's fully healed, or there's more to it because he pulled out of a big money fight because of the injury. Now he's doing this fight. Why would he, you know, risk it to come back just to fight this fight if it wasn't healed? So, but is it going to be, you know, does he deliver a kick or something and it re-injures? That's going to be something that you need to watch because. Once you can't put weight on foot, you're not going to be throwing your punches as hard. You're not going to be throwing as crisp. And then, you know, the different, you're going to be, you're really a one-sided fighter.
Completely. When I look at this fight, I see one way for Eddie Alvarez to win. And I know he's unquestionably tough. I know he's a scrapper. He's a wrestler. He's a boxer. But when I see championship fights, and it would be, I mean, he's a major underdog. Dos Anjos, last time I saw, was minus 300 as a favorite. And I see Alvarez, the way he's got to do it, and to borrow your favorite line, Sean, he's got to make it ugly because this is 5 rounds with an absolute machine when Dos Anjos is humming. And it's really tough to stop this guy. It has to be done through takedowns, through level changes, through suffocation, through all of these little things to just a war of attrition. He's got to go at him repeatedly and not let him breathe. And the most important thing he has to do is not go up against the cage because Dos Anjos is one of the greatest pressure fighters in the UFC today. Mm-hmm. He loves teeing off. He loves cornering. If he doesn't have to move his feet back and forth, he's got a little bit of slow feet. But I've noticed he kind of sticks his feet in the cement when he throws punches, when he throws kicks. He's not slick. He's not quick, but he's absolutely powerful as can be. And he just repeatedly punches, strikes over and over. In the middle of the octagon, you can kind of get away with it if you move back and forth, if that's what Alvarez wants to do. He is a boxer by trade. He knows he can kind of move in and out. But if you put yourself in a corner against Dos Anjos, you're asking for it because, man, he is so devastating when it comes to those punches. Those are stone hands for a reason, and he's the champion for a reason. He made Cowboy Cerrone look like absolute one of the worst performances I've ever seen from Cowboy, and we just saw him completely eviscerate Patrick Cote back in Ottawa. So do you think Eddie Alvarez has a shot here? Because I think he does, but I'm picking Dos Anjos to win this fight.
See, here we go with this again. Because, see, look, the one thing Dos Anjos has is that he's been the champion. Because
Yes.
we've all known that if you win the belt and you go to defend the belt, you're going to lose the belt. That's the way it falls. It's the way it falls. You win the belt, some reason you change your fighting style, and you can't remember how to fight, so then you lose the belt. Dos Anjos comes in as the champion. You know, I because Stipe Miocic has really like messed with me here because
Yes.
Dos Anjos, sometimes he's carried, but because of it being this week and knowing that, okay, McGregor and them are probably going to be, I would think maybe at this fight with the press conference being there that day. They
Connor's going to be talking about.
You know, they're going to be there. So does he come in like a bull in a china shop and then get caught?
I mean,
You know, I mean, because that's pretty much, like you said, he's either going to have to make it ugly or he's going to have to catch him.
completely.
And we've seen it to where, like, for some reason, I don't know if it's the camps or if it's the fighter themselves. Once they get in that octagon, it's like they like, oh, well, he knows I'm going to do this, so I'm going to try to do this. And then they end up getting caught. And I think Dos Anjos, I'm going to go with Dos Anjos, but I think Alvarez could, you know, get that punch in. And we hear, well, it probably won't be Roe, you know, doing it, but whoever is there, maybe Stan or whoever's doing the commentary at the Fight Pass thing, saying we have a new champion. I would not put it by it, but I don't think he's going to like dominate Dos Anjos. It's going to be either like a quick, you know, nail him and knock and get it over with, or he's going to have to keep it real ugly and somehow eke out a decision, which I don't think is going to happen with Dos Anjos. So I'm going to have to go with Dos Anjos.
We're definitely in agreement there. The thing with Dos Anjos is, and you mentioned the champion kind of thing, is this his second title defense? It's not his first title defense. So I kind of, the more they do it, I'm guessing like it just kind of feels better as you're walking in as the champion. I watched back that Pettis fight for Alvarez. I wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. And I just, watching Dos Anjos go to work when he's at peak form, there's maybe nobody better at lightweight. And, I mean, he's a champion for a reason, but he can just be so devastating so quickly, and you cannot take a beating with him because it like after a couple punches, you start to feel it really bad. And the only guy that I've ever seen to kind of contain Dos Anjos when it came to this was Khabib. So I think Alvarez isn't at that championship pedigree here yet because he's only won 2 in a row, and they were both split decisions over Melendez and Pettis. And still in that Pettis fight, watching it back, it's like I just didn't see a champion in that fight. And I know that's just giving people like him more motivation. I just like to see, if you're going to be a champion in the UFC, you just have to have a little bit more than that. And I just don't see him as a champion, at least not yet.
Yes, but this is also coming from the guy that didn't see Stipe Miocic walking out as champion as well. So Eddie Alvarez, you know, touche.
It's a shorter layoff than Verdum not defending the belt for a year. So I'm gonna go with Dos Anjos.
Touche,
I'm
my
gonna
friend,
feel comfortable about it.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get that fight between McGregor and, as the Irishman likes to say, a bum version of Jose Aldo. He ain't a bum version of Jose Aldo, I'll tell you that much. It's really impressive to watch Dos Anjos, and he can really make a statement to the whole lightweight division. I predicted in the preview that you can read online, 3rd round knockout. Alvarez is a tough son of a gun, but I just don't think he can hold up against the power of Rafael